Hello, my name is Beth Bedore, and I am the proud owner of The Creative Life by Design. And I've been wanting to put out some videos and seminars on Facebook in regards to trapped emotions. And due to a recent move and some medical complications, I have canceled them. So, what I decided to do was to video them and put them out on YouTube free for everyone. And I will let people know on Facebook, and I will create some more webinars and seminars and workshop for Facebook in the future. But to get this information out, I thought this was important. So let's talk about trapped emotions. What is your belief, and what do you think trapped emotions mean? In my own definition, how I describe trapped emotions are things that happened when we were younger. Maybe it was trauma, something that had happened to us, a memory that we had, a life circumstance, and we have feelings about that. We have emotions about that. And sometimes we push those emotions down. And that can be for several different reasons. It can be so painful to express that, to go through that, to experience it again by almost reliving it, that we push it so far down into our bodies, we no longer feel it. It's like going numb or not remembering that experience at all. So, our bodies, because we're mind, body, and spirit, has those memories and those traumas stay in our body. And generally, when they stay in our body, they stay somewhere, some place in our body, in some certain cells in our body. So it takes training, it takes knowledge, it takes information and education on how to be aware of how to get to the root of those feelings, those traumas, and those trapped emotions to allow yourself to have them release, and then they will no longer affect your spirit, your emotions, and your body. Now, when they get trapped in certain areas of our body, for me, for instance, in my kidneys, I related to, what is her name? Louise Hayes. And she says that kidneys relate to fear and to ego. So I definitely can say that since I have had kidney disease, I've been on dialysis, and I've had 2 kidney transplants, that when I was growing up, fear and anxiety was a big thing for me. It could be as simple as, I know this sounds interesting and kind of crazy, but I would think about, well, what if I can't go to my dentist anymore, or my doctor anymore, or have my special teacher at school anymore? What am I going to do? And I would actually panic about that because I had created an experience, a relationship with that person, and I was afraid to lose that relationship with that person. Even my dentist, you want to know a funny story, is when I would get mad at my parents, I liked my dentist so much that I would tell my parents, I'm going to go and run away with Dr. Yauk. He was a man that I think had like 6 or 8 kids, and he was always nice to me when I went to the dentist, never experienced really a lot of pain. And he was one of my favorite people. So I developed that relationship. So I was so afraid that that relationship in the future might not exist, that it became like a fear of mine. And then I had some other traumatic events that made me in fear of different things. And I actually believe that that was stored in my kidneys, and part of the reason why I ended up on dialysis and needing kidney transplants. Now, I will say that there's other things that go on in our bodies, that there is belief systems around it, Western medicine and Eastern medicine in our society, of why we acquire some diseases, a disease, a imbalance in our body. And it can be through genetics, it can be environmental, it can be what we eat, it can be another disease that's causing another symptom or another disease. There's so many different reasons that people believe that we have disease. Maybe in some cultures that we're cursed, right? But in regards to trapped emotions with Louise Hayes, she says that when we experience problems with our kidneys, it may have to do with fear. And I related to that. Now, some other information that I have seen out there is trapped emotions. Some people believe that it's the true self that wants to express something as far as our emotions, our feelings, although it's a false self that doesn't really want us to experience that. It's almost like it's trying to protect us from the tension, the pain, the ailments from it. So, we store it in our body, and we don't process that again. That trauma that has happened lives inside ourselves then. So that's one thing. Let's see, some other people believe that it's, our higher emotions that are likely to become trapped due to, again, not wanting to feel those things again. And it's a reactionary way of protecting ourselves. Someone else believes that it's a state of mind that under one's circumstances and relationship to the traumatic event, it's a response that the body has to that traumatic event. And it, again, gets stuck or is poorly adaptive functionally. So it's not a healthy way to work through those trapped emotions. So there are several different ways that people believe, and tools and practitioners that you can go to learn how to release these trapped emotions. Some people believe that if you go to a counselor, a psychologist, that they can work through in different fashions of how to get you to go back to the trauma and release the trauma and the pain and the experiences your body has had from that traumatic event. There's eye exercises, EMD, where the practitioner teaches you different eye exercises, and our eyes are connected to our brain, and it changes the brain waves in our brain that has to do with regulating our emotions and our feelings. Now, I have never experienced that before, but I've heard from lots of people that it has helped them in the past to deal with their trauma. And I would recommend looking into it because there's, like I said, there's all different ways on how to deal with these trapped emotions that affect how we perceive moving through this world, perception. So if you have a traumatic event in the past, like let's say you had a boyfriend and he was a narcissist, and your body began to experience that energy coming in towards you, and you process that, your body after a while starts believing that that's your perception, that that's reality, that's the truth, that you're the problem. It's not the person who's creating the situation for you, but that person is creating that you're the problem. They're not the problem. You are the problem. So you start taking all these things on and believing that it's you that's there's an issue with, right? So that can trap inside you, and you may need someone else outside of you to help you work through that, to see that you are not the problem. You have experienced this, so this is how you're perceiving your body, yourself, and the world, but that is not true reality. And then we'll help you learn how to cope with that and to release that, because if you continue to live with that narcissist or to date that narcissist or believe what the narcissist says, then those are trapped emotions that are held within our bodies. Can you understand that? Let's see. If you go to a hypnotic person, a hypnotist, that's another way that they might be able to help you release those emotions. through yoga. If you go to yoga and you learn breathing techniques and movements of the body and other techniques having to do with yoga, that can help you to process those emotions. People say that when they do a lot of hip openings, different types of positions in yoga, it releases the trauma that has been stored in their body, in their hips. And sometimes in yoga classes, people will even break down and cry because they're experiencing something that their body has been holding with inside them that they're beginning to release. The mind-body connection. If you can learn that it's what you're thinking and what you're believing, knowing how to change those thoughts, that pattern in your brain, to come to the process of having different behaviors, different beliefs, and have your body actually believe these things, that can also help to release those emotions and to come back into balance and harmony with your body. There are so many different ways out there. What I would suggest is to go out there, explore them, to go to the internet, to go to people that you know that has gone to different practitioners and different types of practitioners. Sometimes they have free seminars so you can go out and learn about it, or they have open houses at different facilities and you can go and learn about so many different techniques now that are out there that I would say 20, 30 years ago we knew nothing about. Possibly I'm at a loss of words today. Acupuncture, that's the word I'm looking for. Acupuncture. That would be possible of another route to release emotions. Now, I'm not for sure. I have had acupuncture before because I've had different issues with my kidneys, with pain, those type of things. But I've never gone to work through emotions. But I believe that that's a possibility because that works within our nervous system. And when we're talking about trapped emotions, we're also talking about the somatic body, which has to do, again, with the nervous system. It's all about learning how to release it. You may need, in some techniques, to go through the process of remembering the trauma and then working through it. And then other sides of it, people believe that are in different realms of practicing, that you no longer have to go through it. You do not have to talk about it. That because they do this certain technique with you, that your body reprograms, resets itself. So you don't have to go through that trauma all over again. That you can go past that and just reprogram your body. Right? Talk therapy, I believe, I used to go to when I was in my 20s due to trauma that I had when I was a child. They would just want to talk about it and talk about it and talk about it. But we never got to any point where we went beyond the talk about what happened to try to process it, to learn new techniques and new ways of thinking and behaving and believing to reprogram the nervous system, to reprogram your brain waves. So for me, just talk therapy was not something that worked to release the trauma, to have a new perspective on life and not continue to have the same programs in my mind that recreated the same patterns in behavior, which led to the same results, right? You've heard of the thing, if you do the same thing, you're going to get the same results. So you need to do something new. You need to think something new. You need to have a new behavior in order to get to a new result, right? Same kind of thing. If all you're going to do is talk about it, talk about it, talk about it, but you don't have tools to learn how to understand it, to process the brain differently, to have different behaviors, to have boundaries, all these different things, you're going to continue to have the same pattern. So again, with different theories and different people, different religious practices, spiritual practices, and cultural practices, they can believe that you're storing the trauma in different parts of your body. They can talk about your head, your heart level, your hips, your feet, or they can talk about specific organs. So when you want to release the trauma, besides some of the things I've already talked about, breathing techniques can help. There's so many different breathing techniques. If you want to learn more about breathing, I know that there's people that is just teaching breathing techniques. Or you can go to yoga, and through yoga, you can learn again several different breathing techniques. When I went to yoga training, I couldn't believe how many different breathing techniques were and which ones you could use to create more energy in your body, techniques to help you calm your body, to balance your body. There are so many different ones that if people just tell you, to breathe in and out through your mouth and out through in through your mouth and out through your nose, or the opposite, that's just one way of thinking about breathing. Or diaphragmatic breathing, where you're doing deep breathing breaths, getting your diaphragm to engage. That's just another way. There are so many other things about breathing. It's so interesting to learn, and it can help to release those traumatic events that get stored in our organs. So, let's see. I have some information. Body mapping. Body mapping states that anger gets stored in the head. Disgust might be in the mouth or in the stomach. If you're sad, it might show up in your throat. If you have anxiety, it could feel like your gut is tight or your chest is tight. Shame can show up on your face or in your chest. And it's a visceral response. It can even have like a muscle memory response, right? And then when you go to chakras, you can learn more about chakras, the different levels of chakras. And according to the different levels of chakras, you can have stored trauma in different parts of your body. If it's in your heart level, it would be one chakra level. So if you were hurt by a loved one, it might stay there. If it's like a survival thing, when you were younger, your parents didn't protect you, didn't feed you, didn't give you touch, those type of things, survival things, that might be very primal to your private parts, right? And again, it would be a different chakra level. So that's what I've been saying throughout this whole conversation. This talk is, depending on what theory you're learning about, they can have so many different ways of viewing where this trauma gets stored, how it gets stored, and how to get it to release. So I would say that your best course of action is to first be aware that you want to make a change, right? And then you have to accept that, this thing happened, that you experienced this. And then from there to start gaining knowledge. Like I've said before in this conversation, read, YouTube, videos, talk to other people, talk to different practitioners, go out there, whatever resources you have at hand. And it may just not be using one set of beliefs, theories, or tools. You may pick and choose because different ones may resonate with you and other ones may not resonate with you. So becoming aware of what's out there and being aware that you want to process this so your body can heal, whether it's spiritually, emotionally, or physically, or all three. Because I believe that because I had kidney disease, that was not only from genetics, that was from based out of fear of how I was living when I was a child. My mother was very anxious all the time, and if she wasn't anxious, she was depressed part of the time. So I learned from that model and modeling that was how you move through life. That's how you experience life. So I didn't realize that there was so many other ways of experiencing this world. I thought that was, quote, normal, right? So Go out, get educated, learn about yourself, learn about different practitioners, experience different practitioners. Once you can get a self of your body, an experience of your body, a lot of people who have gone through trauma numb themselves or disassociate themselves. Like they don't really experience the pain that they're feeling in their body because the emotion is trapped, and they've learned to numb themselves or to kind of take themselves out of their body so they don't have to experience that trauma if it's abuse over and over and over. So once you can learn to be in your body, to experience your body, then when you're learning to go to different practitioners, your body can start telling you, is this a good space for me to be in? Is this a safe space? Is this practitioner or what they're teaching, what they're helping me to heal with, is that going to work for me? For me, I use kinesiology because I've gone through the process of learning how to work through the traumas that I've had in my life and the experiences that I've had in my life. I've gotten to the point that I'm so in tune with my body at times that I can use kinesiology and I get a sense in my body. I can ask my body, should I move forward seeing this individual for therapy, for massage, for a job? And my body will actually tell me by moving itself forward, that means yes, move forward, or move backwards to say no, avoid that, stay away from that. And I've learned how to be very clear with that. So that's one way that I can discern what situations I should choose and which situations, people, places, things that I should avoid. But that's someone who has done a lot of personal work. So when you're first starting in this process of learning how to release and to get rid of those trapped emotions that can affect all parts of your body and your experience of you, yourself, and this world, is to start gaining knowledge. Then with knowledge can become wisdom, and then you can have more discernment. So I bless you on your journey of healing, learning about trapped emotions, how to release them so you can continue on your healing process. And if you'd like to find me, you can find me several different ways. If you would like to talk to me, have more conversation, or get some coaching with me, you can find me through the website of thecreativelifebydesign.com, because I create my own life and I can support you and facilitate you to create your own life. You can also email me, beth@thecreativelifebydesign.com. And you can go on the internet and find me on Facebook under Beth Badour, Badour. I'm also on Instagram and Twitter, very little, and TikTok, a little bit. Teachable is another place that you can find me, another.com. And right now I'm offering coaching sessions through Teachable. There are some times that I will also offer courses that you can pay for and get them virtually that are already recorded. So like I said, there's so many different ways to find me, to get information about me. I have 3 books out there on Amazon that you can go to Amazon and look up author Beth Badour. I have 3 different books about my experience with chronic disease, with kidney disease, how I've worked through it, things that can help you through your kidney disease, and other books that talk about healthy ways of being, thinking, physically being healthy. So again, I bless you on your journey, and that's the end of this conversation for today. I hope to see you in the future. Be blessed. Thank you.